Thank you to Kara for sponsoring today's tour.
So deep, you guys. It's like, it's not just an Airbnb.
Hey guys, it's Shelby and Michelle with Farmhouse Living, and welcome back to our channel. We have another tour and y'all are gonna be obsessed. The cool thing about this is they can actually experience this in real life as well. So you don't just have to enjoy it on the internet. You can enjoy it here. This is Ginger Curtis, Urbanology, and you're kind of a big deal.
You're a big deal.
No. She's a big deal, y'all. HGTV Designer of the Year. I was like, this is kind of a gamble. If I reach out to her and she says yes, y'all,
We've made it.
we made it. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about yourself, Ginger, and this project.
Yeah, so I founded the firm in 2015. I was a solo entrepreneur, basically losing my mind, burning the candle at both ends and realizing like I can't do this on my own. And so some of the magic over the last, handful of years has been really building and creating a phenomenal team of the most talented, amazing women that I've ever known in my life. I always say is like the secret sauce behind everything we do is my phenomenal team. And, the Urbanology Cottage was birthed out of a desire for us to be our own clients and create something that was not only in our heart that felt really special and intentional, but to share it with other people. Because when we do a project for a client, I can't allow other people into someone's private residence, but a luxury Airbnb, I can absolutely do that. And so that was the heart behind this. And we also felt like we really wanted to meet a need in the marketplace. Like, I don't know if you've ever been on Airbnb or VRBO and you do the endless scroll of like, how many chunky leather, like ugly leather sofas, like with a huge fluffy rolled arm do I have to look at and be offended by?
Everything.
And you just think, don't they know that they have like a diamond in the rough? And so there was this need and this frustration that I had. And I also wanted to create a place for my humongous family. There's 7, I have 5 kids, and it's me and my husband. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to have like a little staycation place also that we could retreat to, some place that had great hiking nearby and a lake, Mineral Wells State Park. And so, the Urbanology Cottage was birthed out of that, and it has been a wild success, which we were so grateful for.
What I loved about this is it is different. We're seeing people want to do color and a lot of contrast, dark and moody. You walk in and the walls are black.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
You are not afraid to do anything like that.
No. The thing that gets my heart really excited is to take the road that's less traveled. Mm-hmm. Find the narrow path, find what's special and uncommon, and pursue that with your whole heart. And so every single thing our hearts and our minds touch, I feel like we approach it with that direction. And the Urbanology Cottage was no exception. I wanted to have my cake and eat it too. Mm-hmm. Meaning I feel like I can be sort of like a schizophrenic type of designer. I have this personality and I have this in it, but I want dark, I want moody, I want bright, I want airy, I want it all. The cottage was really fun because in this room that we're standing in, you see the dining behind us, but you walk in and this is bold and it's dark. And then immediately we transition into a room that's light and airy. And it's like people don't understand that they have permission to do that. You have permission to do that, by the way. And you can create just so much mood, drama, interest, and serenity with what you see in the foreground. So some of those color changes were foundational to the vision for the space.
So good.
I've never related more because I feel like
we say that all the time.
I like everything.
We want moody and we want bright. Now, how does that happen?
I want vintage. I want modern.
Yes. And it does. You've done it.
So what is the paint color?
So this is actually like a green black.
Okay.
And so depending on the temperature of the sun, if it's morning, noon, or evening, it's going to pull more black or more green, which is really fun. Again, I have both green and black. Actually, I can. And so why not?
Yeah. And you have some fun furniture in
Yes.
here. You do not have to match your sofas.
No.
You can change up your seating, and you've mixed up even the textiles. Nothing intimidated you?
No. I think, one of the biggest dilemmas for me was deciding what I wanted to do with the floors. The floors were original. They were in bad shape. We spent a good amount of elbow grease getting them refinished and restained. And at the end of the day, I know the light and bright white oak is so popular. There's moments of that I love too. But for the cottage, I wanted something dark. I wanted something very like espresso that felt like it was from a time past. Mm-hmm. And And so, that was really interesting to make that decision and really set the foundation for the backdrop of how everything would sing, because I've got this sort of, cayenne colored sofa, and what is the interaction with the sofa and the floor? And then I've got this sort of green sofa that's happening with these pops of color. And I really wanted the floors to be dark in this room. Well, really the whole house mostly, and the walls, so that the color in here would really come to life.
And I love that you have accessorized it with just really earthenware and things that are very just super casual and cozy. And this couches look like you just want to stay here a while. It's just so fun.
Take a nap.
Exactly. I would say my favorite piece in this entire room is the coffee table, because like you said, that earthenware, hand carved, artisanal feel. Yes. And so it was actually from the 1950s, and it came from Norway. And I look at this coffee table and I'm like, yes, of course you came from Norway. Of course you were hand carved, and the shape of the legs on the coffee table tell a story that continues in the dining room, where we built a custom bench that has similar sort of cylinder legs. And it's just these little subtleties that tie the narrative and the story of what's happening, room to room in a really interesting way. I think people don't always realize that they can keep your home feeling cohesive and not having like whiplash, but create a totally unique story in every space. And that is definitely something that we embraced with this project.
So good.
I never would have noticed that with the bench. And then when you said it, I was like, oh, that's what's bringing it all together. The black, also the trim is painted, and then that repeating, these just moments repeating.
Yeah, it's a thread between one room and the next, but yet they're very unique in design themselves. So you did a great job.
Thank you.
Your wall decor, especially in the dining room, so much interest. You have what looks like vintage art, and then what is that, a rug on the wall? Tapestry?
Yeah.
So good. Do you have any tips on finding great wall decor?
So I feel like art is just a make or break kind of thing. I think you really need to embrace it. And one of the things that I see over and over is a lot of people don't know what they love when it comes to artwork. And really, I have like the most basic, easy way to approach it for people. The more you look at it, the more you develop an eye pretty quickly. You're going to be like, okay, I absolutely do not like abstract modern. And then you can just eliminate that. And then you start seeing yourself really gravitate to maybe portraits. And maybe it's not just portraits, but maybe it's watercolor portraits. Or, maybe your landscape, like landscape photography or landscape oil painting is really what makes your heart skip a beat. And so if you want to elevate your art game, you've got to get in and start looking at art inspiration. Go to galleries, go to antique stores, go to markets, estate sales. I mean, there's great art everywhere. And then look, hey, there's always a time and place for prints, when you need to incorporate. So I do everything from commissioned artwork. We've got a beautiful commission piece by Heather Ession. She's a local artist to Dallas-Fort Worth. It's absolutely incredible. And then we've got prints, and I've got vintage finds. I've even got a little art piece on the gallery wall that maybe I have drawn myself, but I don't know if I'm proud of it, but it's just weird enough to be included. So, it's kind of like think outside of the box and get really comfortable and kind of go for it when it comes to artwork.
Yeah,
that's good.
I love that.
That's great advice.
Okay, I'm ready to talk about the kitchen. This was the first thing that stopped my scroll when I saw it, but I could not believe the befores.
Yeah.
Your design choices are bold, but the transformation is crazy.
Yes.
So tell us about your design process.
So the kitchen was really interesting because there's a little part of my heart that's like design, beauty, design. And then you're like, functionality. It is a kitchen, right? It does have to have, and we know that is what we embrace for our clients so well. And for us, it was that balance of, what do you edit in and what do you edit out? And probably one of the most significant choices that we made for the kitchen was editing out the heavy upper cabinets. It's a very cozy little space in there. And we just felt like if we could be creative enough and put some elbow grease into thinking how we could repurpose storage elsewhere, could we actually take out the upper cabinets and get that needed functionality? And we answered that question, and the answer was yes, we can. So we ripped out the cabinets. We rebuilt the lower cabinet. We put in like an eggplant purple sink to complement the purplish brown cabinets that are happening. A beautiful handmade Italian range that sort of acts as this jewelry piece. The backsplash with the range is a gorgeous marble from Ann Sachs, and you look at it and you're like, is it new? Is it old? Is it old and new? It's perfect because it pays homage to a time past, but it also feels refreshingly modern. And I think that kitchen for me, it's all about the mix of old and new, and in ways that you maybe haven't seen before. So the main backsplash on the sink side is a fantastic example of that. We used a material that's not very common here in the United States. It's called a micro cement. It's very popular in Europe. And we, using that material, were able to create our own custom backsplash and create our own pattern with that. So we've got something in that kitchen that's absolutely one of a kind that doesn't really exist anywhere else. Because of the pattern that we created, it's naturally antimicrobial, it's very, very durable. People go in there and they're like, what is this? I don't know what it is. I've never seen something like this.
So you don't go to an Airbnb and find an Ilve stove.
No.
But here you do. So it's funny because, like I said, the linens, these are things I look for, the professional range, because we do enjoy going out to dinner when we're on vacation, but sometimes we like to make a nice meal. And if you can have a wonderful space to do that in, you have a chef in your family, that's a really great upgrade.
And it's pretty.
And it's so pretty. Honestly, it's a great point because that was so much of my heart behind the space. I know what I experience in my home every single day. I know that when I open a cabinet and it's curated, so look, I'm just gonna be honest. I've been called extra. I've been called weird. I've been called all the things, and I'm okay with it. I totally embrace it. But when I open a cabinet or I experience something, it changes the way that I feel. It changes the interaction in that moment, and there's just this little happiness that's percolating in my heart, and I love it. And I'm like, other people deserve to have these experiences where they interact with something that's truly unexpected. And I think, was somebody thoughtful enough to think that I was going to pick up that mug and feel just the quality and the craftsmanship, or I was going to open the pantry door and see this curated selection of organic spices? Yes, because you were worthy. You are worthy, and we are designed to take in and receive beauty. And I think some of us don't always process the impact of our environments, and we can bypass that really easy. And so I think there's part of me that just says, hey world, you need experiences in your life, in your home, where you're raising families, where you're the happy tears and the sad ones, all of the range of things that happen in a home, our environments support that, or they don't, so
it's so good.
It's so deep, you guys. It's it's not just an Airbnb.
No, we totally understand that. And that is our heart too. And I said, sometimes we are a little extra when we stay. Okay, we're very extra. When we stay somewhere, you only get that time with your family maybe once or twice a year, unless you're, a world traveler, which we are not. And so I want it to be special. I want it to be unique. I want to pick up the mug. I do. So we really take time to look for all those really special things that people curate and put into a space that makes it really special. So I applaud you. It is very hard to find. It is really hard to find. So you've done an amazing job. The kitchen's stunning.
Thank you.
Look at this gem that I got in the mail today. It's fall, and I am falling back into healthy habits. So today's sponsor, Care of, they have customized vitamin packs. So all you do is you go to their website, takecareof.com. They have a 5-minute quiz, and it sends you a vitamin supplement combination specifically tailored just for you. Life is a whirlwind, right? Like this unexpected playroom project that we have going on right now. So that is why having a seamless way to restock your vitamins and maintain healthy habits is so important to me. I love how they give encouraging reminders or just make you laugh along the way. The team at Care of has thought of everything. They even created an app to track your vitamin journey with your healthy habits, send timely nudges, and you can even rack up rewards. Take Care of's quiz to find out what's recommended for you. Use my code Farmhouse50 for 50% off your first order. Now back to the tour, guys. Another thing I did want to talk about in the kitchen was not only the shelf across the window, like you went across. So that added interest because we're seeing a lot of people completely take anything off the wall. It's just a blank, interesting, like that minimal design, no uppers. But you've done it and made it modern and fresh with also some storage. But then your wallpaper choice in there, I would have never assumed that those colors are the best companion, but man, they look so good together.
It goes back to what we were talking about earlier about I want my cake and I want to, what is the saying?
Eat it too.
I want my cake and eat it too, right? I want purple walls with green floral wallpaper. Why can't I have that with a very like modern, minimal, micro concrete backsplash? You know what I mean? And so I always love to tell people when something is done well, the things that you can get away with, you would not believe. Now, the challenge is like really, it's the execution, like doing it so intentionally, so thoughtfully. It is a challenge, but it's possible, you know? And so we labored over the colors and we labored over the choices because we knew it was a stretch. We were doing something unconventional with who puts a purple sink in their kitchen? You know what I mean? So we put in that effort to make sure that when all of those material selections and all of those colors came to life, that it was still going to feel harmonious.
Yeah.
Good.
So good. Okay. The bedrooms and the bathrooms. I love that it really is, I feel like you're going through and it's like moody and then it's bright and it's moody and it's bright. Did you like intentionally make that pattern?
I definitely wanted every room to be its own experience.
Okay.
And so it's like the kitchen is this modern nostalgic. The dining feels relaxed modern. The living room is relaxed modern moody, right? And so but somehow it all works. And so the bedrooms were really fun places to take some liberties to create sort of their own personality. And it's a fun story. When I was imagining what these spaces could be, I really drew inspiration from my childhood. And so I picked names from fictional characters from my childhood and named each bedroom after them. And so there's a little brass plate at each door. And so like the primary suite is called Ms. Longstocking. Have you ever heard of somebody named Pippi Longstocking?
Yes, I saw your quote. It's just perfection.
Yes. I mean, Pippi, when I was a little girl, to me, you know, she stood out. She was strong. She wasn't afraid to stand up to the boys. She wasn't afraid to question things. I was total tomboy. But Pippi emerged into my life via books and, you know, television shows. And then her hair, like who wore, you know, red pigtail braids, you know, and I just thought, because you know what? She is not worried what everybody else thinks. And for me, for that reason, Pippi is my hero, because she said, I'm going to do what's in my heart. And I'm going to be truly authentic to who I am and to myself. And so she wore those red braids, you know, in pigtails. And, you know, who ever imagined a million years I would wind up with 2 of my 5 children with bright fire engine red hair.
Really?
You know, so I've got some Pippi in my life in all sorts of ways.
Goodness.
And so that the primary suite is very bright. It's very relaxed, modern, organic, but it just pays, you know, tribute to this inspiration from my childhood and really just honoring and embracing things that impacted me. And then when we moved to the middle bedroom, totally opposite. We get this very moody, warm, cozy, like you just wrapped yourself in a warm blanket and like that's what that room feels like. And we've got this incredible vintage bed that contrasts those dark walls. Well, that room is all about mood and mystery and it's called Colonel Mustard. After the game,
Clue.
Clue.
What did you say?
Monopoly. It's Clue.
Yes, Colonel Mustard in the study.
Colonel Mustard in the study with the wrench.
Yes.
And so Monopoly. We just played Monopoly.
That's so mom. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. And so I found vintage portraits of old men who, you know, I was like, this could be Colonel Mustard, you know, and we put vintage Clue game in the room. And then we took separately, I was able to find pawns, like the heavy metal ones that are good quality. And they're all hidden throughout the room. And there's like a little mystery and a challenge to see if you can find where all the hidden tokens, all the game pawns are at in the room. And so it's just, it's whimsical, it's fun, it's moody, you know, and again, it was something from my childhood that had really, really great memories.
And it's got a theme, but it's not kitschy.
So there's nothing
Right.
kitschy about it.
Right.
And that's another thing about, you can embrace something that's in your heart that may feel like a theme and make it totally special
Yeah.
and one of a kind, which is what we did with that space. And then the third bedroom is named Mrs. Hosel. And Mrs. Hosel was a childhood friend of mine and my sister's, might I add. And she was totally make-believe.
Oh.
We wanted somebody who was cheeky and sophisticated and smart, but a little bit naughty to invite to our tea parties. We just thought that our tea parties would be so much more fun if we had a guest. So we invited and conjured up Mrs. Hosel. And she had pointy shoes with a small heel, and she had a wool hat with a feather and a button-down coat, and she had like dimples. I mean, we knew who Mrs. Hosel was. And so, growing up and becoming, like, I don't know what I became, a grown-up, from becoming a little child to a grown-up. And again, going back to some of the magical moments from my childhood, I grew up in a home with a lot of trauma and a lot of abuse in so many ways. One of 7 kids really survived my childhood in a lot of ways. And to me, looking back at the moments that were of refuge and even making up people who I could look up to. Because what was happening for my sister and I is we didn't have those role models. So we made her up.
Yeah.
And she was smart and she worked hard and she was adventurous. And I didn't realize it. I have goosebumps. When I was a little girl, I didn't realize that I was creating the persona of who I wanted to grow up and be. I wanted to work hard. I wanted to be wild. I wanted to be smart. And I wanted to have the permission to do all of it. Yeah. And so Mrs. Hosel that room is named after her. And there's a wall of built-in books and a library. You can go in there and read. And then there's just fun rabbit wallpaper. And that feels kind of whimsical. And then you've got a fox on the wall. And it's like, is the fox going to chase the bunny? Is the bunny going to chase the fox? It's just, and then you've got this bold marigold velvet color in there. That's like just, really vibrant and sort of frames out the bed and the built-ins and the books and everything. And it's just a really lovely, cozy, special space. And so I was like, why can't I share that with other people, for something that was so meaningful to me and inspired me as a childhood and like bring that into real life.
Yeah.
So good. I feel like I want you to write a book.
I feel
and
like
I just want to read it.
But I will say this. You're telling my story too, because I grew up with a lot of trauma and I have heroes. But what's cool about you is that you took all those things and you're not only celebrating it for yourself, but you're sharing it with the world. Mm-hmm. And so as I look back, A Wrinkle in Time and these different things that God put in my life to just keep me going. And then all of a sudden I realized, wait, this was my life all along. It was my plan. It was who I was created to be. And now you're sharing that with so many people. And every room tells a story. And now I understand.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Isn't it cool when you like peel back?
Yes.
And you see that there's something really meaningful. And I feel like that's what I believe for my life personally. And that's what I want other people to experience in their own homes and showing them how it can be done.
Yeah.
So
well, you feel it when you walk in. You feel that there's a story. There's something more than just pretty things.
Yeah.
And then you sharing it. It's just like, I was getting goosebumps the whole time. I was like, oh my God.
I feel like God is just all about, you know what I mean? It's through his handiwork and his creativity. And if he is the author and the perfecter of beauty and creativity, what does that mean for us?
Right.
Created in his image. It means that we need it. We long for it. It's in our DNA. Yes. And I think people come in and they experience a place like this. They don't always have words. And that's okay because it's a feeling, right? And it really is transformative. And I think just like giving ourselves permission, you are worthy of beauty, and leaning into that is a message that needs to be shared.
I agree.
This is so good.
It's the best.
So good.
I don't even want to move on to the bathrooms. I want to be best friends.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Yes. Amazing. Yeah. But tell us about the bathrooms.
Oh my gosh, the bathrooms. Focus, Ginger. I know. I'm like, oh my gosh. The bathrooms. Okay, so the bathrooms were really special. And I think one of the things that immediately stands out is the investment, not just from a creativity standpoint, but the marble standpoint that's in that floor is so beautiful. And so we did really amazing quality tile by Ann Sachs. And that is not common. I don't know of Airbnbs who are putting that. But again, I want people to understand that you are worthy of that experience and I want to invest in you. Please don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Because I want to invest in you. I want you to experience quality, right? And beauty. And so there's a lot of little moments in there. The vintage mirror that I found when I was, global traveling to source for treasures, and that being wrapped up so carefully and shipped back so that we could use it, and the brass wall sconces that create this like really warm, beautiful glow, and the pedestal sink that we put there really intentionally so that it felt a little bit more open in a relatively small space, and then the texture that we were able to add with the linen curtain, which is unique, to kind of do it in that way. And it's another room that tells a story, and you walk in there and you just want to. You're like, wait, why did I come in here? I'm just gonna get lost for a minute, and I'm gonna take in all the moments. And you can walk into that room 3 times and experience something new each time.
Who are some of your inspiration design?
Like
who inspires you?
So I love Jake Arnold. I love that he really embraces things that are unconventional. And I love his color palette. And I love that he knows how to mix the old with the new, keep things fresh and modern. He's really, really inspiring to me. I would say Lauren Lees is an inspiration. I love her. She's just such a doll, deeply authentic.
Yes.
And that is so attractive. And I've watched her story for a really long time and have just gained so much inspiration from her.
We agree. Yeah.
So the most amazing thing is you could shop this entire cottage. You don't have to just take the inspiration and try to put it together. You can go to your website, shop the entire look, and know, okay, these sofas go together. I can paint my walls black. I have permission to do that.
The chandelier.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. So you can install it. You can get it. But what if someone does want to hire a designer? You are a designer. What makes a good candidate for someone to hire a design firm like yours?
To make it overly simple, I would say somebody who, first of all, does not enjoy it. They're not the expert, and that doesn't bring them life and joy. For some people, it does, and it's really fun, and that's a great thing to pursue, and maybe it's a hobby for them. But that's not everybody. And if it does not bring you joy and does not bring you life, then you are using your very precious and valuable time on something that's going to be a real struggle. And so that would be a great scenario to think, maybe I should partner with an expert, somebody who can bring my vision to life. Right. And then, for those who look at inspiration, or they go to LTK and they're following along on Pinterest and Instagram and they're seeing all this great inspiration, and they try to take a piece here and there and pull it into their home, and they stand back and they say, why did this not work? Like, what went wrong? This doesn't look anything like her living room. Yeah. And I think the number one issue with that is we haven't stepped back to look at our foundations. And so when you take a step back and you say, what's happening with my floors? What's happening with my walls? What's happening with my light fixtures? Okay, to say it plainly, it can be like putting lipstick on a pig. Right. We're trying to dress something up and elevate a space, but we have not thought about the canvas, the backdrop that's going to bring it to life. Right. And if you've got carpet and you are just so tired of that carpet because it's dingy and it's worn and it's old, and you set that gorgeous coffee table on that carpet that you hate, you are going to see a fight in that room. Yeah. And it's not going to be harmonious. And so I would say, before you even think about accessorizing and new furniture or throw rug or pillows at whatever level, think about what's happening with your walls, your wall color, your floors, and then your lighting. Lighting is an incredible place to be bold, adventurous, creative. Don't play it safe when it comes to lighting. Just take some inspiration from the cottage. Yeah. We've got funky lighting happening everywhere, but you don't walk into the room and feel like, why is that so weird? Yeah. You feel like, why is it so perfect? Yes. You know what I mean? And so lighting's a great place to take some risks, but really do stop and think about your foundations first. Get those nailed down to where you want them, and then start peppering in those moments that make you happy.
Yeah, so we agree. I just redid my primary bedroom, and I had these green oversized chairs that I was going to recover for the last several years. But when I did the floor,
then she liked the chairs.
I like the chairs.
See? Yeah.
It's so funny.
So good. I want to high five. 5.
Oh, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for inviting us in and letting us hear your story. And
So good.
and we want to stay here now for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You need
It's
to.
amazing.
We need
Yeah.
to. Okay, so you said that this is also up for nomination for HGTV Awards. Tell us a little bit about that, because y'all can vote and make this happen.
Okay, so the Urbanology Cottage was nominated for the dramatic before and after category because this was a dramatic before and after. I mean, it was a complete transformation. And so, yeah, it's HGTV Designer of the Year. It's national. So there's projects literally all over the country, and the Urbanology Cottage is one of them. And so we're excited, and we can vote every single day now through September 28th.
Yes.
Awesome.
So if you're watching this video, don't just vote once. You got to put a timer, a daily timer to do that. It would be so cool to see it win and like have the community rally, but it's well deserved. It doesn't.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You don't even need to get everybody to prove anything to anybody. It is
Aw.
amazing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
good. So make sure you vote. Make sure you follow, because you have so much inspiration
Yeah.
to share every single day. It's like, oh, scroll stop.
So you are on Urbanology
Yes, Urbanology Designs.
Designs.
is the design firm. It's sort of the hub, and then from there, the Urbanology Cottage.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Urbanology Cottage.
And then you have your Urbanology properties, where you can see as she expands and continues to offer amazing places to stay, office, rent,
all of them. Venue.
Yeah, so much
So
good stuff.
good.
Okay,
All right. Like, subscribe, follow, and we will see you next time.
bye.